Rob Ryder speaking out of Cornwall, and again this is the second video from Debt Slavery, the Economics of a Banking Mafia edition 2. So I've just done the previous video regarding the cost of living crisis and inflation and the nature of the problem. Very simple, not difficult. Now I'm going to do the nature of the solution. This is my solution, which will work. And you have to get a little bit political. So I'm trying to do it in very quick steps. I have done it in other previous videos, but I'm trying to put it in one package now to how fair, just monetary financial system would work. So first of all, international corporations have to go. Because I've said in other videos, slavery was reframed as free trade, where one corporation from one country can go into another one and blah, blah, blah. And then they just work out of Bermuda and don't pay taxes. That has to go. So a nation, you should only have an industry or a business in a nation if you're resident there and you're working out of there. And a foreign company shouldn't be able to come in and take over taking the bins away or getting public contracts or opening a business. Shouldn't be done. There could be flexibility with franchises and things like that, but we don't even need that, to be honest. Why not have local businesses in your local nation and create real culture instead of this global mono-Western culture? So businesses should exist within the nation. To start doing that, we need to get rid of this idea of this financial economic competition between nations. There should be cooperation. Competition is destructive. The people who run the world run behind the scenes, and it's a corporate system that runs the world. You could say satanic corporate system. There's something darker behind that, but at the end of the day, it's just a corporate mafia. That's all it is. You get rid of these international corporations, don't allow them to function that way, that breaks their system up, fragments it massively. So that's the first step. Then you would have all the resources of the nation and the infrastructure, the basic infrastructure, the roads, utilities, would be nationalized. Has to be. If I'm going to be part of a nation and all the resources that the nation are going to be sold off to the highest bidder, what is in it for me? Yeah, what is in it for me? Nothing. The resources of the nation should be for everyone. If you've got oil, if you've got gas, if you've got minerals, whatever. And it sounds a little bit socialist, this, but I'm not actually a socialist. But there is a framework in socialism, which is, even though they're pushing socialism in a way, there is a framework that socialism is a danger to them. So you look at Venezuela, and as I've stated in the book, this isn't socialism against the West. Utter nonsense. People are saying, look, Venezuela, socialism doesn't work. Nothing to do with that. What's going on in Venezuela is a war of who controls the oil. Chavez wanted it for the people, and the CIA wanted it for the bigwigs in the corporations. I was in Venezuela many, many years ago, and you could fill up a car. We hired a car for the day for cents per gallon, pennies. But then they would sell it at market value, get the profit, and build hospitals, roads, schools, whatever. That's how it should be. It's the nation's oil. Yeah? But CIA want it back to be put in private hands. This is why Venezuela is a disaster. Nothing to do with socialism. It's to do with the war about who controls the oil. So the infrastructure, if I'm going to be part of a society, I should get the benefits of that society, the physical makeup of that society. We should fund the infrastructure ourselves. We don't need government. We just need a body. We have to give it a new name because the word government means mind control. Most of us know that. A body that's going to maintain and serve the infrastructure, manage the resources for the people, and whatever's left over we can trade or sell on the international market, and the profit comes in back for the nation. That's where this socialist aspect should end. Then after that, you allow just free enterprise. So the treasury can create as much money, currency, again, stick to that, currency as it wants to fund building the infrastructure and utilizing the resources. So again, productivity, what do you want to produce? The treasury produces the currency to facilitate that. And when that productivity has been done, you take the extra currency, because it's extra now, because the productivity has been done. You have to take that out of circulation or reinvest it. Make sure it's working so you're not causing inflation. A simple way to do that would be able to pay certain state bills with that currency, and they can decide either to reinvest it into more productivity or take it out of circulation. Or you can store it, as it were, where it's not in circulation but stored ready to come in to circulation when we need more productivity. So again, the productivity is the deciding factor. We don't need currency to produce. We have the idea and the resources to do some sort of production, and we bring the currency in to facilitate that. That's all it's there for. Again, and repeat, at the moment we have a situation where the power is in the hand of the people who control the currency, because the currency dictates if production can be done or not. It should be the other way around. Again, nobody's talking about this, but this is where you have to go back to the basics again, and to the root, realizing everything's free. Currency is just coming in to facilitate the production so we can pass around our productive energies. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's how you would fund the state. And then on top of that, obviously money from that would filter into the private sector where people could open businesses. But then for people, for their private businesses, you could have credit banks. There's nothing wrong with banks creating currency out of thin air. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. The issue is the interest. Yeah, so you have the new currency coming in, but the repayment is up here, and there's never enough in circulation. So I think in the book, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, the current worldwide debt is something like $320 trillion, and the current worldwide currency in circulation is about 125. It's something like that. But again, what we're seeing is the debt bigger than the currency because of interest. And for me, a simple solution to that was, I want 100 grand credit to expand my business. Then I say pay a 5 grand upfront out of the existing monetary pot circulation, service fee to the credit bank. They get paid, they extend credit, and I just pay the principal back. That's it, over a term agreed. And it'll be regulated, because you don't want to be giving backhanders to your mate and I'm not paying back. And there has to be liability for this. So it's paid back. And then the money in circulation and the debt always stays the same. No inflation, no debt slavery. It's actually pretty simple. So there's simple solutions where you're not going to get cost of living crisis, you're not going to get debt slavery, you're not going to get inflation. As we would own the resources we have, we could fix them prices, so there's no fluctuations. We can still trade with other countries. This solution would massively disempower the idea of trying to build an empire, a corporate empire. Now, not many people, well, yeah, many people, the working people would get on board with that, but there's a lot of people, upper middle class, who are trying to step up to that elite class. They all want to go and live in Dubai. They won't be happy with that, because they make their living via this corrupt financial system. You know, your Andrew Tates, there's a guy called Samuel Leeds who makes his living just out of housing. This is another issue. I might do a separate video on this, where housing now has just become another asset to make money off. We should be building homes that are free. That's another aspect of my solution, where the idea of I mean, it's shocking that we have homelessness and these entrepreneurs, all they're thinking, I've got a property. How much money can I make out of that property? That's all they're thinking of. So the idea of an industry like houses make mass tenants. There's some good small tenants out there. You'll always have a reason for people to rent. You know, maybe it's a temporary work contract, maybe it's a student, maybe it's an unemployed family who are disabled, whatever. You might always have people that will need to rent, and small little landlords who have a few properties. And I've known good, decent small landlords who don't charge ridiculous rents. That's far better than these big corporate landlords, because we know now part of the treason that's taking place is the deliberate manipulation of the financial system and cost of living and interest rates to take all our houses. They want everything. The fact there's no uproar and no blame is because people are confused or people are lazy, as I've gone to before. You can speak to people, oh, you know, your mortgage has gone up X amount a month, you're gonna have to work harder for it, it's gonna go in your pocket, you'll have to cancel your holiday. Yeah, no, blah blah. Oh yeah, but the football was good last night. You wanna stick with that attitude, you're gonna lose your house, and you know, good luck to your kids in the future, because they ain't gonna have one. So again, people need to stop complaining, understand this. It's not complicated. There are many people out there talking complicated nonsense, economists, people who are claiming to be economists. I'm not claiming to be economist. I just looked into what is money, where does it come from, how does it function? That's it. All these hedge funds, complicated gambling, I don't understand any of it. The only reason I looked into asset-backed securities because I knew there was something in that was enormous, and that's how I seen this conversion of credit, temporary money into permanent money for the elite. And it's fraud, if you ask me. Nobody's talking about it, but it's fraud. It's simple. Stop getting confused by these people on TV. They're confusing you. The solution is simple. We have a national infrastructure, national resources, and then self-responsibility and private enterprise on top of that. So it isn't socialism, because I'm promoting self-responsibility and private businesses. But if I'm going to be part of a landmass, and it's going to be called a nation, and I'm going to be part of that, and the infrastructure and resources are on there, I want that to belong to me, to the people, and get the benefits of it. I don't want to build an infrastructure and then have to pay to use it. I don't have all these resources and pay ridiculous prices to utilize them. The energy prices in this country are off the scale. It's ridiculous. No need for it. We can create our own energy, put it at a fixed price to maintain the structure. It'd be really cheap. They don't want that. And people really need to educate themselves. There's a lot of nonsense solutions out there. And again, Gary's Economics, this big star that's going around the world, they just tax the rich. Utter nonsense. Yeah, but doesn't know what he's talking about, or he knows what he's talking about. Simple. The power lies in the production. It's free, and the currency should only be brought into circulation to facilitate the production. It's simple, but we've been led to believe it's the other way around by people who are treasonous and this international corporation behind it. So when people say, whoa, yeah, but you get confused, yeah, but technically what's the solution? It's simple. Can it be any simpler than this? It's not complicated, not complicated at all. And this is why people in this realm kind of don't get involved, because they think it's really complicated and they don't embarrass themselves, and they'll highlight their ignorance on the matter, because these clever economists will start talking complicated jargon. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Strip it back to what it is. What is currency? Where does it come from? How does it function? And it's simple. So there is no cost of living crisis that can't be fixed, and there's no need for inflation if you know what you're doing. Simple.